Good evening, everyone. Happy Friday to you. Yes, hopefully this webcam will sort itself out and we will get into focus. There we go. How's everyone doing? I'm just going to talk and waffle for a little bit until, people are kind of in and settled and you found your table and, because we can pretend we're in the pub, can't we? Even though, once again, that is no longer an option. Excuse me, I have important business to attend to here. So here we go. Yes, indeed. Funny old week. I know I saw in the chat earlier a couple of people are asking if I've got my signature guitar yet. Not yet. No, it is hopefully going to be arriving on Sunday, although Dan has contacted me and said he's, kind of running a bit behind, and would I mind if it was a couple of days behind schedule? And, well, not really. No, obviously it's a disappointment in not being here now, to be honest with you, because I'm getting really excited. Cheers, by the way. But, it's going to be the last guitar I ever buy, basically. So, and I am buying it. Just want to get that out of the way, full disclosure. It's potentially going to be the last guitar that I ever kind of have as my main guitar. So a couple more days for the guitar that's going to last me the rest of my days is not really, a huge deal for me. But I am excited, I can tell you that. Peter's in. Evening, John. No beer, as in self-isolation and gotten on in. Found half a bottle of vermouth. Needs must. Yes, indeed. Right. Well, we have an off license round here that is delivering. You can't stop us Teesside lads. It reminds me of me missus, because I probably mentioned she's Canadian. She tells stories of like how they used to, because I think you have to be 21 to drink over there. She tells stories of how they used to call a cab, and the cab just used to go to the liquor store and pick up beer for their kind of student parties. Where are we? Who else we got in? Geronimo's in. Evening. Ian's in. Evening, Ian. Tim's in. How are you doing, Tim? DVD Bedford. Sorry, mate, I don't know your first name. You're in. Ozzy's in. Bottleneck Bob's in. How are you, Bob? Derek's in. A good crowd already. We're into three figures, and we've only been going 3 minutes. So it's looking rather promising. As you can probably tell, it's curry night in the Robson household. That's because it's Friday. We don't always have curry on a Friday, but more often than not we do. And this week we're having, we're getting a takeaway, because I think it's important to support the local businesses. So that's what we're doing. Let me give you a rundown what's coming up on the channel this week. In the morning, well, I keep saying for these Saturday videos in the morning, it's lunchtime tomorrow when the video is going live. There is a bit of a mashup. It's basically, imagine what would happen if the Allman Brothers covered a Shadows tune. What brought that on was I was on Amazon the other day, and one of the recommendations came up for a Hank Marvin album, and Hank Marvin did a cover of an Allman Brothers tune. So I thought, what would that sound like if it was the other way around? And came out pretty good, I thought. Then on Monday, there's a Gary Moore solo that we're looking at. I mentioned it on the Still Got the Blues video I did last week, but Texas Strut, we're looking at one of the solos from that tune. Tuesday is another Why I Love This Album video, and it's an absolute belter of an album this week, I gotta tell you. It's, how I often if there's an album with 10 songs on it, I'll talk about like 6 or 7 of them and skip over them and just kind of think, well, yeah, let's move on to that. This album, I have to talk about all the tracks because there's none of them that I could kind of say, well, I can't miss that one out. Then on Wednesday, there will be some kind of lesson. And on Thursday, not sure what the lesson's going to be yet. But we'll see. Then on Thursday, another fantasy guitar shopping video. Don't know what I'm going to be looking at yet because we've done Strats, Telecasters, Les Pauls, 335s and SGs. So I don't know. I'll cook something up. We shall see. And all of that is, of course, subject to change if I get a special delivery from Scott Guitars between now and then, which I will be doing. But it's, I'm just looking forward to doing the video on that and just kind of, seeing where we are. But those are the planned videos for this week. Cheers, everyone. Have you seen the new Harley Benton single cut? I can't say I have. It's what is it? What makes it different from previous Harley Benton single cuts? The local mini mart has a fine range of beers, including tins of Oranjeboom, 9%. Oh, 9%. Dear me. That reminds me of a beer I used to kind of be quite fond of back in my student days. It was this Belgian, I think, nutcase juice called EKU 28. New haircut, yes, very funny, Codzilla. I haven't even had a shave today. I was in a rush this morning. Hey, John, if you want to do a comparison video, I could bring my Gretsch Streamliner down and the Epiphone Studio after lockdown. Yeah. Sign me up for that, Bob. That would be great. Great to see you again, mate. Obviously, once we're free from the current restrictions. Oh, Mad Dog 2020. Dear me. Yes. That was quite the stuff, wasn't it? Which was your favourite? I used to like the orange flavoured one. But that was real kind of student bedsit, and you want to get drunk and you haven't got the money to get drunk, but you can between you can scrape together enough to buy a bottle of Mad Dog 2020. Kieran's in. How are you, Kieran? Yeah, Deville was Darren. That was one of them, but EKU 28. That was another Belgian beer that was ridiculously strong. It was stronger than some kind of red wines, Have I seen Jet guitars? No, I haven't. Well, I know of them, but I've never had one kind of in me hands to play here. I have got another guitar review coming up. I got in touch with Glary, and they are at some point going to be sending me that Telecaster that Phil McKnight reviewed this week. I don't know if you saw that, kind of butterscotch blonde, blackguard tele copy kind of thing. And I'm going to be kind of doing what he's thinking about doing with his, which is, what's he call it, sharpening the axe, just kind of modding it a little bit. I've got a hankering to do like maybe a sort of a Richie Kotzen job on it, that kind of thing, and just to kind of upgrade it to ridiculous levels, and then just probably pass it on to Zoe's place or something. What's that, Dave? You've been looking at home recording bundles. Are they easy to use? I'm 62 and not tech savvy. Probably the best thing I can say about home recording is get Reaper, because out of all of the home recording kind of softwares that are out there, that's the one where you'll find most online help with it if you do get stuck. It's an incredibly powerful piece of software. But you can get by doing what you need to do by using like 1% of what it's capable of. And that's certainly the way I treat it. Yes, it's like this big Swiss Army knife with a load of different kind of tools on it, but it's I just use the ones that I need, and I've found my way round them. Basically, check out the excellent Reaper guide that's up on YouTube by Adam Steele. I think it's called Reaper Basics or something like that, and he takes you through it, like walks you through it right from just kind of connecting it all up and getting it all up and running, and very, very informative video. What do I think to new road-worn guitars? Well, that's just another word for relicking, isn't it? I don't like relic guitars. I don't get them. I don't understand. I mean, would you go to your local BMW dealership and say, yes, how much extra would you charge me for pitted chrome and ripped seats and bald tires? To me, that's what relic guitars are. But some people love them, and I don't. It's like you like raspberry jam or you like strawberry jam, but you don't hate somebody that likes raspberry if you like strawberry, or vice versa. People are different and they have different tastes. My tastes aren't for road-worn or relic guitars, but I understand some people do. Thoughts on Prince as a guitar player? He was immense. He was absolutely astonishingly good, which doesn't come across from things like Purple Rain or When Doves Cry or anything like that. But I know somebody who went to see him at Wembley many years ago, and apparently, I mean, is anyone familiar with the John Coltrane tune Giant Steps? Okay, just Google it and listen to it, and then look at the chord changes that are in there. You can't just kind of sit on one scale and noodle over it. It's really fast, really kind of intricate chord changes and key changes as you're going through it. And Prince played a blistering solo over that set of chord changes, apparently, wearing a blindfold. So, there you go. Where are we? Oh, you just totally crashed, have you, Ozzy? I'm sorry to hear that, mate. JJ Guitars of Derbyshire, Stephen. Never heard of them. Never heard of them. There do seem to be a lot more nowadays, aren't there? These little artisan guitar companies popping up. One of my students, Podrig, was mentioning, I think it was CMG guitars the other day in the comments of one of my videos. And I think it's great. I think it's really good that there's a lot of these small independent little builders coming through, not least Scott Guitars, who are making me a signature guitar. I might have mentioned it, but I just think it's because if you think about the way that in a comparable thing, what small craft breweries have done for the quality of beer in the country and stuff, it's really raised the bar a bit, and I think that can only be the same thing with guitar builders. Isn't it strange how many of my analogies always go back to either beer or curry? Oh, Deco, you're talking about Prince there, are you, Deco? Yeah, well, there's some people will weave a conspiracy theory. It's a hobby for some people, isn't it? What's your opinion of 3 notes per string scales versus box pattern? I use them both. When I'm doing the whole kind of legato, slithering around the neck kind of thing, I will use 3 notes per string. And when I'm playing in a more kind of Clapton-y, bluesy, kind of old school way, then I'll use more kind of caged box patterns. They both have their their uses. And to be honest with you, I don't really think of them as distinct things now, because you get to a point where you're so familiar with the neck that you just see where the notes are and go to them. Indeed, Bob. Ozzy, change your name to Harley Benton and you'll have loads of signature guitars. Yes, indeed. There are worse ploys. There is a story I could tell, but it would probably fall foul of rules for YouTube, so I won't. But anyway. Oh, you into fishing, are you, Kieran? Dearie me. Yes, I tried it once, and it's funnily enough though, it's one of those things that fishing, I didn't enjoy doing it, but it somehow it makes a good spectator sport. Did anybody see that Paul Whitehouse Bob Mortimer thing? That was brilliant TV. Okay, so we've got some new Telecaster finishes, are we, that Harley Benton have come up with? Yeah, I've seen those TE90 FLTs, like that sort of the Cabronita style one that I used to have. It looks a bit sort of unique, doesn't it? I'd have to see one in the flesh. Jury's out on what I think of the photographs of it. Gero's in. How are you, Gero? Calogero there. He's my 9 a.m. lesson in the morning, so I've got to make sure I don't get too, squiffy tonight, although, best laid plans of mice and men and all that. Do you play other stringed instruments, ukulele, mandolin, banjo, etc.? Badly. My problem is I've got, especially with a mandolin, I mean, I've got hands like a Rottweiler paw, and I end up kind of smashing over more than one fret on a mandolin when I try and play that. Banjo, I tried, and I could kind of get away with just plunking away on chords. It's the sort of thing that, I mean, I had that banjo guitar in here a while ago. That's cheating because that was just tuned like a guitar. But I played bass badly. I can play double bass even more badly, and it's just about the guitar for me. It's where my heart is, really. Although I am thinking of, you can't see, well, you can just see a little bit there where my B is sitting. There's a little table here. I am thinking of getting a keyboard and kind of learning some keyboard chops on it. Thoughts on 7 or 8 string guitars? 6 is enough for me. And me, mate. Yes. It'll probably crop up on here at some point. An old mate of mine, Matthew, Matty Lockwood, he's heavily into his 7-string guitars. And I suppose it's what you get used to. But I have to say, I'm not a big fan of that low-tuned sound anyway. So it's, I'm an old dinosaur, and I like me blues and me classic rock, and that sort of stuff. So 6 is, kind of where I'm comfortable, really. Evening, John. Were 2 guitars playing together, E major, other playing E sus something, etc. Sounded good. You can work. The thing is, Tom, what tends to work best then is if you play like a big fat open E major chord down at the bottom end of the neck, and then play an E sus 4 chord in the same position, it'll sound a bit dissonant, but that dissonance can be cool. It can be just what the song needs in that situation. It depends from song to song. But basically, think of it like this way. I was just talking about a keyboard there. Imagine if you had your hands on a keyboard and you played a C chord with this hand and a D chord with this hand in the same octave. It would sound kind of a bit bad, a bit dissonant. But move each hand an octave either side and it suddenly starts to kind of make sense. So think about it that way on the guitar. Move one of the chords up the neck and maybe kind of capo it or play it as a bar chord or something, and it does begin to kind of add more kind of richness rather than dissonance. What do you call a dumpster full of banjos? A good start. Yes. There was a joke I told once in a video I did ages ago about the history of the electric guitar. You know, what's the difference between an onion and a banjo? Nobody cries when you chop up a banjo. Apologies to any banjo players out there. Billy Connolly had a excellent banjo player, virtuoso banjo player in his day, as well as being probably one of the funniest guys alive. He came out with this line once. He says, "Lines that you'll never hear. That's the banjo player's Porsche," or she's having an affair with the banjo player. It's lines you'll never hear. Brilliant. Yeah, okay, Codzilla, you sold me the Dubliners. Yeah, fair enough, mate. And the Pogues. It's getting around to that time of year again, isn't it? When we're going to start hearing that Pogues song. The Humble Bums. Yes, that was it. Irish Stew. Yes, Humble Bums. Him and Jerry Rafferty. What do you call someone who hangs around with musicians? A drummer. Yes, indeed. I did a video on these jokes ages ago. I might have to do another one if anybody's got any more decent musician jokes. Here's one for you. What's the difference between a large pizza and a working musician? The pizza can feed a family of 4. Yes, he does, Stevie. Yes, he also does play a good auto harp, although in his defence he says it's probably the easiest instrument to play known to man. He says it's the instrument that you can buy on an afternoon and be gigging with it on the night, having never played it before. How many G-string jokes are that? Yes. That's just like shooting fish in a barrel, that one, isn't it? Yes. I think you mean the chiropodist books up the feet, indeed. Yes, indeed. What was that about George Formby, Aussie? Fair enough. Why does the drummer always stand outside the door? He doesn't know when to come in. Yes, that's another one. How can you tell there's a singer at the door? He's got the wrong key and doesn't know when to come in. Why do viola players lean their instruments on the dashboard of their cars so they can park in disabled spaces? What? Not quite with you on that one, Malcolm. Over my head, I'm afraid. How do you get a bass player off the porch? Pay for the pizza? Yes, indeed. In the interests of fairness, let's tell some lead guitarist jokes. How can you tell there's a guitarist at the door? The knocking gets louder. And this one takes a while, but I'll do it anyway. A drummer dies and goes to heaven, and he says at the pearly gates to St. Peter, he says, "I'm not coming in if there are any lead guitarists up here." He says, "You don't let lead guitarists up here, do you?" And the St. Peter says, "No, of course not." Says, "Fine, I'm in then." And he's wandering around heaven, happy as Larry, and just faintly in the distance, he hears somebody playing Smoke on the Water badly. He thinks, "No, I'm imagining it." And a little bit later on, he hears Stairway to Heaven. He thinks, "There's a lead guitarist up here. What's going on?" Anyway, he finds St. Peter and he says, "I thought you told me there were no lead guitarists up here." He says, "Well, what do you mean?" He says, "Well, already I've heard Smoke on the Water and Stairway to Heaven. And listen to that now. Somebody's doing Parisian Walkways. There's a lead guitarist up here." And St. Peter just smiles. He says, "Ha, no, that's not a lead guitarist. That's God. He just thinks he's a lead guitarist." I see Craig's in there. How are you, Craig? While we're on the subject of beer, you should try some of the craft ones. Twice as expensive, but you'll only drink half as much. Yes, indeed. I am quite partial to that. I don't know whether you call it a craft beer, but it's really nice. That new stuff from, or relatively new stuff from Guinness, Hop House 13. It's rather nice. You can spend a happy evening with that. Oh, we're still getting the musician jokes coming out. Ralph McTell, dear me, yes. I said the other week, actually, on the live stream, that for some reason I seem to be regressing to my childhood. These days, every time I pick up a guitar and I'm warming up, the first thing I play is Streets of London. So, yes. Yeah, I mean, I love that. Does anybody else remember that French and Saunders TV sketch where it was the trial of Ralph McTell, and they brought on Lemmy and Dave Gilmour and Gary Moore and Mark King and everybody? It was, just Google it, French and Saunders, Ralph McTell. You'll see it on YouTube. It's quite a funny skit. Evening, Dave. How are you, mate? Oh, dear me, the garlic mayo fell out the fridge when you were getting me can. Well, we can't be having that. See, if that happened in our house, we have an inbuilt household way of getting rid of any spills. It's called a border collie. He is like a walking dustbin. He really is. Any more acoustic guitar lessons coming? No, I haven't done an acoustic guitar lesson in a while. Watch this space. We'll see what pans out this week. I was thinking about that. It's been a while since I've done anything on acoustic guitar, and the noggin's jogging. I might have to. There's something I might just be coming up with for that. So yeah, watch this space. How can you tell when the drummer's stool is level? He dribbles from both sides of his mouth at the same time. Yes, Bob. We call them musician jokes, but I would say a good kind of 90% of them are probably drummer jokes, aren't they? Where are we? About 30 years ago, I snapped the neck of my Gordon Smith, got it repaired, but wouldn't stay in tune until I took the trem off, and now I can't put it down. It fits me belly. Well, fair enough, mate. Yeah. Funnily enough, my first Gordon Smith had exactly the same malady. I was on holiday and or vacation, if you're in the States, and I'd basically, I'd gone away with the lads and come back, and my mother had a rather shamefaced look on her face. She says, I've been into your flat to do a bit of cleaning, because she had a key. She used to let herself in, and she thought I was incapable of basic household chores, which I am, but never mind. Anyway, it turns out she'd let herself in, and she was vacuuming the carpet and knocked the Gordon Smith off the stand, and the headstock snapped off. Luckily, we had at the time a fantastically talented luthier and guitar tech in this part of the world called Jim Cairns, who basically made it all better. And it was a fantastic instrument. I took him a guitar that was like, splintered, and he put it back together, and you could not see the join. Are you off, Tom? Enjoy your takeaway, mate. Yes. Well, she was very apologetic about it, and she paid for the repair. Not that I asked her to, but she insisted. Bless her. But funnily enough, she never used to let herself into the flat after that. Jokes apart, feel sorry for drummers as it takes them forever to set up. Yes, well, Dave, but the thing is, Most drummers could cut the amount of time they take to set up by not setting up all of the toms and china boys and all of the timbales and everything that they never use on the gig. You know, number of drummers I've played with that set up like a huge Neil Peart style kit and then just kind of play bass, snare, hi-hat the whole gig. And it's like, why? You know. Yeah, couldn't see the joint like Ernie Wise's wig. Yes, we're getting back again. You know, we're getting to that time of year, aren't we? When we're going to start seeing the Morecambe and Wise repeats on TV and quite a lot. Not there's anything wrong with that. Does anybody else think that Bring Me Sunshine should be on Christmas compilation albums? Because it's the only time of year you hear it nowadays, isn't it? Everyone from the UK hasn't a clue what I'm talking about there. Morecambe and Wise were a hugely successful UK comedy act in the 70s and 80s, and their Christmas specials are still repeated to this day. Yeah, two drums like Slim Jim Phantom. Yes, I was watching just on my phone, actually, just with my headphones plugged in, while she was watching, you know, some Masked Singer or something like that the other night, and because she's missed it all. She's just got into this show, and there's like a load of series of it, so she's watching like box sets of it, binging on it, and so I found on YouTube a Stray Cats gig from about 1983, and dearie me, I was in heaven watching that. Yes, I've tried that one many times, Ozzy, and it's incredible. You listen to Cliffs of Dover and you think, that's really good. I bet that's difficult. And then you think, well, maybe I could try it. And then you try it and you realize, oh dear, okay, reassess your place in the grand scheme of things, Mr. Robson. Did anyone see that that video that what's he called, Tyler from Music Is Win did ages and ages ago, where he tries to learn the intro to that song? And you know, I mean, he's a really properly useful guitarist. I mean, he's really good, isn't he? But you know, it had him, you know, kind of scratching his head and you know, really kind of struggling, to be honest. And that was probably the video that made me kind of really kind of respect him as not just as a guitarist, but as a YouTuber, because putting something like that up, being as honest as that, putting that up and thinking, well, okay, here's something that I'm struggling with. That's you know, a very honest thing. An elaborate drum kit is not unlike a 7 or 8 string guitar. If they simply brought a baritone guitar, there's little difference. Well, fair enough, yeah, but I suppose you know, 7 or 8 string guitars, as I say, they're not to my taste, but you know, some people like them. Any experience of Kramer guitars, John? Yes, I briefly had a Kramer Pacer way back in the late 80s, and well, it wasn't for me. Basically, I'm sure it had a Floyd Rose on it, and I think it was a Pacer. It was a Kramer something. I think it was a Pacer. It's a long time ago, and my memories back then are not as clear as they should be. We'll leave it at that. But it was an okay guitar, but it just wasn't for me, really. It's you know, that's not my cup of tea. But that's the only one of theirs I've ever played. How do you make a bandstand take away the chairs? Good evening, Robert. How are you? Thank you, Con, mate. That is much appreciated. Very, very generous of you. What the heck is that small screen on the shelf for? What small screen? If you're talking behind me back there, we live in a small end terraced house, and this is a 2 up, 2 down house. And as well as being my office and studio, it's also the spare bedroom, and it's also where the wife does her hair, and that's the mirror that she stands in front of on a morning when she's preening herself. Yeah, I saw that about Ken Hensley. Yes, indeed. What can I say? It's we're of a certain age, aren't we? Where the musicians we grew up listening to are all leaving us. That's the mirror John does his hair in. Yes, I spend a long time in front of that mirror. You on your first glass of pills, are you, Tim? Yes. Dearie me, that's a drink I have mixed memories of from me student days. Holston pills. It's the lunatics in the students' union who ran the students' union bar used to sell it by the pint, and it could get quite messy. We've got a Texan in. Greetings from Corpus Christi, Texas. Well, I don't know what time of day it is over there, but I hope you can understand that it's always 5 o'clock somewhere. Cheers. What do I think of the Harley Benton Fusion guitars? Well, I bought one for the charity that I was working with at the time, Zoe's Place. I bought it with the donations that came in from the GoFundMe for that, and was absolutely gobsmacked by it and loved it, and thought I've got to get one of these for myself, and then got one, and it wasn't as good as the one that went to the charity. So I ended up selling mine. There was nothing wrong with it, the one that I had, but it just didn't capture my heart. And so, they're great guitars, but the one that I had was just not for me. I think it was a case of good for you, EEG. Yes, well, it's the sun's over the yard arm, I think, isn't it? Yeah, the Harley Benton Fusion guitars. I'd be interested in probably trying another one. But they're just that little bit beyond impulse buy kind of price. So yeah, they're great guitars, but they were patchy when I got mine, because the one that I ended up giving away or donating to the charity was better than the one that I got. Best Harley Benton is still the CST-24. Yeah, I'd go along with that. I've had numerous Harley Benton guitars through here, and the CST-24 is the one that, that and the ST-57, the black strap copy you can see back there. But the CST-24 is by far and away the one that I play the most out of all the Harley Benton guitars I've got. It has, the story behind it. I won't bore you with it again, but it does have sentimental value for me. So that one's definitely a keeper. Yeah, and the CST-24, it's the only one that I think, because I don't want to crow about it, but I used to own a Core PRS, and out of all the Harley Benton copies compared to the ones that they are aping, it's the one I think that comes closest. Okay, Deco. Well, I think you are probably not alone in that sentiment, mate. I, of course, couldn't possibly comment, but yes, good man. What are the frets like on the PRS copy? Well, I had a bit of a dead spot on the neck with mine, so I did like a level and crown of the frets to try and get rid of it, and it didn't cure it. What did cure it was I swapped the bridge for a more meaty wrap over bridge, and that did cure it. But I didn't need to do the level and crown on the frets because they were absolutely spot on. That thing has got the lowest action imaginable. I mean, breathe on it and you're fretting the strings, you know. They're fantastic, and I've had it about 3 years now, and there's still virtually no fret wear on it, and it gets used on a regular basis. Size wise, okay, yeah, they're medium jumbo, mate. Medium jumbo frets, you know, which is, if you're churning out guitars for the mass market, then you want something that's, you know, kind of something that's the thing that's going to appeal to the most number of people. And you know, medium jumbo seems to be the most popular fret size these days. So that's what I couldn't give you any numbers on Dunlop this or whatever kind of fret wire gauge they are, but they're I mean, think Gibson basically, and that's the kind of sort of fret size you've got. Okay, Ozzy, I shall check that out, mate. That's I'm always looking for, you know, kind of, because who wants to watch television these days, frankly? You know, I shall check that out. I'm always interested in Telecaster trivia. Bought some Dr. Duck's axe wax on your recommendation, John. I rubbed some on my old battle axe. She's not stopped complaining all day. Oh, see, I didn't. I thought that was. I thought that was serious until I got to the last line. Well done, mate. You got me. What is your favourite chord? Mine is A minor ninth. Okay. Favourite chord. I do like any chord with an added ninth. It's something I picked up from like Andy Summers, I guess, you know, just adding the ninth into the chord. It tends to reinforce the existing character of the chord. Add a ninth into a minor chord, it sounds even more kind of desolate and bleak and miserable. Add a ninth into a major chord, and it sounds even more heartwarming and happy and cheerful. So any chord with a ninth added, I would guess. No, they don't, Pastel Man. Those Vanson tuners are absolutely spot on. Those were the tuners that were going to be on my signature guitar, but I don't know if I've mentioned this already. Because this is a signature guitar that's going to be kind of sold. We've agreed on Cluson locking tuners, but the Vanson tuners are absolutely fantastic. Really kind of, do you know what I mean when I talk about that sort of feel on an old expensive hi-fi, when you turn the volume control and there's just that kind of silky but kind of classy kind of feel to the way they turn. That's kind of the vibe I get from them. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that video, Anton. I've seen them both actually. It's just, you know, $5,000 on a pedal. You know, come on, really. I suppose anything is worth what people are prepared to pay for it, and I don't want to kind of, you know, start specifying that things shouldn't be allowed to sell for that much. But all I would say is, it would be a cold day in hell before I spent 5,000 quid on a pedal. Anyway, excuse me, chaps. Oh, Dan's in. How are we, Dan? How are we? Dan O'Sullivan, guitar builder extraordinaire. He actually, I hope you don't mind me saying this, Dan, but Dan messaged me the other day and said that he was jealous because the guitar that he's building for me is better than the one that he built for himself, his prototype, which was a stunningly good guitar. So, you know, I hope when this guitar arrives and you see how good it is, that you know, we were talking about, like me, kind of we're ordering a curry from the local Indian restaurant later. It's all about supporting small local businesses, and you know, even if you know you're not local to them, but supporting small kind of businesses and kind of helping them through these difficult times. I hope if you're in a position to, you end up supporting Dan. Either get one of my signature guitars or get in touch with him and get him to build you the guitar of your dreams, because that's what he's doing for me. And you know, he's a nice chap and he builds beautiful guitars, so let's show him a bit of support. The one at the end of the James Bond theme, yes. That we're talking about favourite chords, are we? Yes. That is an E minor major ninth. There you go. That's how much of a geek I am. I know that even after 4 pints. My granddad used to say the reason shops had big windows was so they could see a mug coming for miles. Well, fair enough. Whatever. No worries, Dan. I wouldn't be saying it if I didn't stand by it, mate, you know. So, and there's somebody knocking at our door, which means the curry has arrived, but it'll keep warm. So, oh, well, that's tragic, Malcolm. Your local curry shop hasn't reopened since the first lockdown. Yeah, well, this is the thing. I mean, you know, local music retailers, I do feel sorry for them, because a lot of people will go in there into the local music shop and try out a guitar, and then they'll go and buy it £10 cheaper on it, you know, online or something. You know, I've never done that. I've never gone to a shop to try out a guitar and then just said, you know, if I didn't like it, I didn't buy it. But if I did like it, I bought it there and then, you know. I mean, I've used online music retailers just for the convenience of it. But, you know, when I've been able to, I've always been, you know, I've always tried to patronize the local guy. What's that? Thank you so much for teaching me the 5 pentatonic positions. It opened the door for me learning modes. It all started watching your video many times over. Thank you. Well, do you know what? Comments like that, mate, are the reason I do this. You know, it's just, I remember years and years and years ago when I was like really, really young, kind of 13, 14, asking a more experienced older guitarist for some tips and stuff, and I was just kind of laughed at, you know. You don't know how to do that, and that's kind of stuck with me. So if I can, so I don't own the knowledge, no one does, and if you can pass it on and help someone along and just kind of give them the ability to play what the music that they're hearing in their head, then that's mission accomplished, isn't it, really? Hi, John. What pickups would you recommend with a nice stratty sound to replace those on my Harley Benton ST? The factory ones are shrill. Cheers, mate. Hope you well. Okay. Pickups for a Strat. Iron Gear do some nice Strat pickups. They do some really nice Strat pickups as well, as do Axes R Us. If we're going to talk branded pickups, then I do like the Seymour Duncan. I can't remember what they're called. I think, is it the Alnico Pro 2? I don't know if that's a Strat pickup or a Tele pickup, but yeah. But check out Iron Gear first of all, because they are really, really good pickups. Um, uh, sorry, the chat is going by really fast, and I do need new glasses. I can give vintage 60s and a cheap no-brand Strat, and it sounds awesome, especially the bridge. Well, there you go. There's your answer. Guitar Rescue has the answer there. Oh, thank you, Craig. He's saying John is a fantastic teacher and still enjoy watching the music theory videos because you always learn something new. Well, thank you. Thank you. Can I just pass that on a little bit and tell you about a YouTuber who I've just kind of discovered? He's not a guitarist. He's a composer. And he's like that mad teacher you used to have at school whose lessons you always used to look forward to because he was mad as a box of frogs, but entertaining, and you always learn something. He's a guy called Guy Mitchellmore, and check him out, Guy Mitchellmore. He's the son of an old UK TV presenter called Cliff Mitchellmore. And Guy Mitchellmore is a professional composer, does movie scores and TV scores and stuff. And he puts up videos that are sometimes a little bit beyond me, to be honest with you, in terms of like MIDI libraries and stuff. But he's just an entertaining guy to watch. So check him out. You'll learn something, even if you only learn 1% of what he's trying to teach you, you've learned something. Oh, Jason's been watching him. Any thoughts on John Miles? He was a fantastic, well, I don't know if he's still alive, is he? But he's a fantastic guitarist. And I suppose we all remember, well, those of us who are old enough, remember that 70s hit that he had, Music. Music was my first love, that one. Yeah, fantastic. I don't know that I know much of him beyond that, because I just remember reading like album, like I was talking about in that video the other day, when you kind of reading the sleeve notes on an album and you see the credits of who's played on the album, you say, oh, John Miles, he's on this album as well. Oh, he's on that album. So he's a fantastic guitar player. And as I say, that one hit that he had in the 70s was like, his vocals are fantastic. So what about a how much video on pedals or amps? There we go. There's this week's video. We shall do a how much video on pedals. There we go. Oh, well, thank you, Dave. He's alive and well and living in the Northeast still. Well, fair enough. I didn't know that. I knew he was from this neck of the woods, but I didn't know he was still kind of in the area. You just tend to assume that anybody who's been successful in the music industry ends up migrating to either New York, LA, or London, don't you? Snowy White, yes, indeed. He was, he played sessions with Pink Floyd in the 70s, and he was on, what was the album? Was it Renegade, the Thin Lizzy album? He was briefly in Thin Lizzy. Yeah, I bet the song you heard was Bird of Paradise, wasn't it? You off, are you, Kieran? Have a good mate. Have a great weekend. Yeah, I've tried making a couple of music videos, Aussie, but with the backdrop has always been this room. I must invest in a green screen at some point. Was it Chinatown, Irish Stew? Thank you. Yes, I knew it was round about that era. Yes, music theory for guitar, Geronimo. Yes, I watch his stuff all the time. I find him addictive viewing. He was Tina Turner's musical director, was he? I didn't know that. I know he played... do you remember when Joe Cocker made that comeback album in the early 90s with that version of Unchain My Heart on it? That was the big hit off the album. I know he played guitar on most of that album. Have you any gear reviews coming up? Yeah, well, yeah. There's a Glary guitar review coming up. There's probably going to be another review of one of these pedals. Don't forget, the contest is still open for this video, for this pedal rather. What's the video? This Harley Benton British Sound. Did a video on that a while ago. I'm probably going to get the AC tone and see what that sounds like. So that's coming up, and there's the Glary guitar. There will, of course, be my signature guitar review coming up, but please don't expect that to be unbiased and objective in any way whatsoever. You know, there's a few things in the pipeline. So just watch this space. I'm putting feelers out for various bits of gear to see if I can get them in here for review, and well, we'll see. Oh, so you got the green screen, have you, Ozzy? Yeah, right. Well, the thing I found, you'll notice when I'm doing these kind of solo analysis videos and stuff like that, is there is nothing more boring than a static camera focused on somebody playing the guitar. Movement and, you know, kind of zooming in and panning and stuff like that. Not too much, but, you know, just anything to make it visually interesting. So keep that in mind and use your imagination, mate. Where are we? You off your chip? Yes. Well, I won't be long myself, mate. We've been on nearly an hour now, and as I say, that I heard the knock at the door and the dog barking earlier, so that means that that my chicken tikka balti has arrived. So I'll tell you what, folks, this is the last of me beer. Once again, I can't tell you how great it is that at this moment, 167 of you have turned up on a Friday night when you probably got better things to do, to watch a bald, fat gobshite talk rubbish and drink beer. It's very humbling. Thank you, everyone, for turning up. Massively, massively grateful. Thank you for watching all the videos, and I'll see you in the next one. But for now, time, gentlemen, please.